Thursday brought a final closure as well as surprise to the ensuing political turmoil in Maharashtra, with BJP's Devendra Fadnavis announcing the name of rebel Shiv Sena leader Eknath Shinde as the next Chief Minister of Maharashtra. In fact, the political circle was abuzz with reports that Devendra Fadnavis would be the Chief Minister and Eknath Shinde would take over as the Deputy Chief Minister. So why has this sudden shift or the change taken place? What is BJP's strategy in naming Eknath Shinde as the Chief Minister? For this, we have our political editor DK Singh as well as our Maharashtra correspondent Manasi Phadke with us. Welcome to The Print. Well, we'll begin the first question. DK sir, why do you think BJP has done this? Everyone is surprised by this move.
Well, before I come to that, let me bring in Manasi, because I don't know how many people have watched this press conference, joint press conference by Fadnavis and Eknath Shinde. And Manasi, in fact, she was very much chilling in Europe, sitting in London. Shinde has brought her back. So welcome back, Manasi. Now, what has happened in that press conference? If you can just briefly tell us before we move on to the question.
Okay, so Fadnavis opened a press conference. He basically spoke about, in a nutshell, how Mahavikas Aghadi was formed by stealing the people's, by basically going against the people's mandate, stealing the mandate from the Shiv Sena and the BJP, and hence it was an unnatural government. And hence what they are doing is just basically restore what the people had already asked for in the 2019 elections, when they had clearly voted 106 MLAs of the BJP and 56 MLAs of the Shiv Sena, and BJP and Shiv Sena had fought the election as a pre-poll alliance under, the assumption was under Devendra Fadnavis as the Chief Minister. So that's what he started with. Then he started speaking about how they are basically ideological rivals. They don't bring the same things on the table. There was a lot of injustice being done to the Shiv Sena MLAs. They were not getting sufficient funds. MLAs who, in Shiv Sena MLAs constituencies, people from the NCP or the Congress were getting more funds than the Shiv Sena MLAs were. And apparently they tried to voice all of this to Shiv Sena President Uddhav Thackeray, who was also the Chief Minister and at the helm of the Mahavikas Aghadi. But then these are Devendra Fadnavis's words that Uddhav Thackeray chose to back the constituents of the Mahavikas Aghadi rather than his own people, because of which they had to take this extreme step and move away from an alliance which was against Hindutva, which was unnatural, which was against the people's mandate. Then he went on to say that the BJP has decided to back this group of rebel MLAs from the Shiv Sena who decided to take matters into their own hands and do something about the current situation. And they have collectively decided to make Eknath Shinde the Chief Minister. Fadnavis clarified that he would be the only person taking oath this evening, but there would be an expansion soon where members of the rebel Shinde camp, members of the BJP, as well as the independents supporting the Shinde camp and the BJP, some of them would be sworn in the cabinet. Fadnavis also categorically said that he will stay away from the government, which also possibly means that he is likely to play a role like Sharad Pawar did to the Mahavikas Aghadi, but not there. Then Shinde took over, and Shinde pretty much said the same things. But one thing that I would like to categorically mention that Shinde said was he thanked the BJP and Modi and Fadnavis especially for giving him the opportunity to become the Chief Minister, though their group, the BJP, had the numbers in their favor to have a Chief Minister. And he mentioned this, that the BJP has made Balasaheb Shiv Sainik a Chief Minister. This is very important because it underlines the agenda of the BJP and of the Eknath Shinde group behind this whole thing. When everybody was expecting that Fadnavis will be CM, suddenly they take everybody by surprise and Shinde is CM. Balasaheb Shiv Sainik being the CM basically gives way into the possible reasons why this may have happened.
So coming to that main question, Neelam, the strategy is very clear, and this is what the BJP leaders have told me in the past half an hour I've been talking to. idea is to basically finish Thackeray. So if you had continued with Shinde as, say, a deputy CM and given ministerial portfolios to, say, a dozen other rebels, that won't give that kind of signal. Because if you look at the command and control system of the organization, I mean, okay, fine, you will have your own speaker now. That speaker may allow you to become the leader of the legislature party also in the assembly. Disqualification will be taken care of, all those notices. So those things are off. But still, you remain, or your influence remains confined to the house, to the assembly. Outside, people will say, okay, look, just for deputy chief ministership, for a few ministerial portfolios, you have ditched the Thackeray's. So that does not enhance Shinde's stature and does not help the BJP much. Idea here is to finish Thackeray completely. So make him the CM. He becomes a big face. Now let other Sainiks rally around him. Right now, see, apart from MLAs, you have just a couple of MPs who are supporting him. I mean, Shinde's son Shrikant and Bhavna Gauli. That's all. Other MPs, the rest of the 17 MPs have not said anything about this. You have corporators, you have office bearers, they will all play a big role. So even if Shinde, if he had become even the deputy chief minister, that wasn't good enough for him, because outside Thackeray would control the entire thing. But now that he has become the CM, he will have many of these people, or at least this is what the BJP expects, that his stature will grow.
Absolutely.
He will have more people joining him.
Right.
And probably he would be able to snatch the Sena symbol from Uddhav Thackeray. Even if he's not able to, at least he would be able to make a big dent into the Thackeray's control over the Sena. And this is the idea. Split them, take it away from the Thackeray's. Because the idea is, Shinde, howsoever big he becomes, as long as Thackeray is there, until Thackeray is weakened and kept, brought out of the entire equation, the BJP does not achieve its objective. So this entire plan is to finish Thackeray by basically empower Shinde and try to prop him up in a way that, he's able to split the Sena and get a major chunk of the Sena people into his camp. And Shinde will not be a major threat in the long run because he is not a Thackeray. So that's their thinking. Another thing is, Shinde says he has 39 MLAs, and you have seen those MLAs have not even come to Mumbai till now, because there is always apprehension that, they were insulated in Guwahati, first in Surat, then in Guwahati. You bring them back to Mumbai, and probably a few of them bolt out. So the entire plan goes awry. So they're not very sure if those MLAs would stick together for long, because for the last 10, 12 days, they have been out of Mumbai, out of touch. They haven't really been interacting with the party. So there is always this apprehension that, you mix a few ministers, then you have about 2 dozen left. What will they do? Gradually, Thackeray might be able to kind of wean them away from Shinde. So that apprehension was always there. And then again, you give just 10 portfolios to Sena, to Shinde camp, and BJP keeps a major portion of it. Then the message will be, what have Shinde and his rebels got? His other rebels. Now that Shinde is the chief minister, the BJP can have most of the other important portfolios. Shinde will be there as the face. But basic objective is finish Thackeray's.
Well, in the course of this live, we will also be taking live questions. Already a number of them have poured in. So let me start with a few. Ankit Patil wants to know, would BJP workers accept this decision? Fine, it is a masterstroke, it is a big decision by the BJP, but how will the party workers take it?
I think they should be okay, because after all, they'll be part of power, and most of the cabinet would consist of the BJP workers, BJP leaders only. So BJP workers have no region. See, on the ground, BJP workers, Sainiks, they have had this long understanding. And now they could see their ideological rivals, common ideological rivals. For the BJP, for Sena, of course, they joined. So they could see the rivals kind of gaining more ground, gaining more heft actually in the administration, politically also. Now to get them out, get the NCP and the Congress out, and that itself is a big achievement. Whether they have the CM or not, these workers will also understand that it's not Shinde who will be running the show. it will be Devendra Fadnavis. So it's not the Shinde government is there technically. It's actually going to be a Devendra Fadnavis government.
And the optics during the press conference pretty much said that. I mean, Fadnavis opened the press conference. He said the BJP has decided to make Shinde the CM.
Yeah.
He also said, I will be there to help the government in every way possible. So he is there like that Margadarshak and that whole large-heartedness of the BJP, etc. These are the things that they try to impress. And the other thing about, again, we are fulfilling Bar Thakre's dream. So all of that sends a very positive message to the BJP cadre to kind of carry forward and rally on. So that will not be an issue. Also, BJP historically has always been a party that accepts a decision given to it. I mean, largely you see that in the BJP more than you see it in other parties.
And largely, in Maharashtra, BJP's ultimate objective is to finish Sena, right? So gradually, the first Sena was the bigger brother. Gradually, now BJP has become the bigger brother. BJP would like to eat into the Sena's space more and more. BJP workers would be very much aware of the entire plan that you finish Thakre and get all that Thakre represented and become the most dominant party in Maharashtra, because other parties are getting weakened.
Another question from Srihari Fadnavis is the BJP eyeing a stable government in 2024, and this is one of the reasons that it has taken such decisions?
Yeah, in 2024, in fact, BJP would like to form the government on its own.
On its own.
So that it doesn't have to go for some clutches. So even if, although I think it's unlikely, but even if Shinde remains a factor in politics, a big factor, a big enough factor, BJP's idea would be to get that number on its own, like 145 in the 288 member assembly. Shinde is there, but gradually, what has happened with the RPI? It's supposed to be an NDA partner. How many seats does it have? It doesn't have anybody in the Lok Sabha. So Ramdas Athavale is supposedly around. He's an ally.
Right.
Eknath Shinde will, sooner or later, he'll also become another Ramdas Athavale for the BJP.
The way I see it is that Eknath Shinde is basically a good distraction to kind of confuse the Shiv Sainiks and divide the Shiv Sena, at least for the next few months, to tide over the local body polls, the corporation elections that are coming over. Because a lot of technical and legalities need to be sorted out with regards to which Shiv Sena, whether they do have support of 2/3 of the entire party, not just the legislative party. So by the time all of that is sorted out, sooner or later, this government is unstable. Sooner or later, this government, either they will have to merge with another party, or it's a very tall order that they get the tag of the real Shiv Sena and not Uddhav Thackeray, because the body of the functionaries, the cadre, the corporators in most places are still with Uddhav. So it's just a good distraction for the next few months.
Absolutely, because BMC is so cash rich. Now, BJP would like to gain control of the BMC, where Shinde is just there to help, but BJP will have the control. Thane Municipal Corporation. Shinde will be very helpful to the BJP. So once you gain control of these corporations, then you start looking at Shinde. Shinde, gradually over a period of time, Shinde will start losing his utility. I mean, after a year, 1.5 years. But his utility right now immediately is in these corporation elections. Once that is done, BJP will also keep reassessing the situation. If Shinde turns out to be another reluctant CM who is not delivering, and BJP would let him go. So as long as he's useful to BJP, he'll be there.
Well, there's another interesting question by one of our viewers, Shiv, and he's saying that Aditya Thackeray had said that they had also offered him the chief minister's post to Eknath Shinde. Still, why he wanted to do this way? Of course, he did not want NCP and Congress, but there could have been some other way.
It was not Aditya Thackeray. It was just a rhetorical thing that, okay, if you take it, but come back and talk to us. So they were desperate to get those MLAs and Shinde back to Mumbai. Right. And then when you're back to Mumbai, then they would have dealt with them differently.
Also, at that time, MBA, Shiv Sena may have offered him anything, but MBA as a whole wouldn't have accepted it. It was a situation where they weren't willing to accept any leadership other than Uddhav Thackeray. Any other Shiv Sena leader in the position of the chief minister would have caused much more friction.
Well, another question for you, Mansi. Vineet Gupta wants to know who owns the Shiv Sena party symbol as of now?
Shiv Sena party symbol is with the party. I mean, how do I answer this question? For any party to undergo a change of hands, the 2/3 of that entire party needs to shift its allegiance to that person, and then the group can go to the election commission and claim that we have 2/3 of the party, the entire the functionaries, the administration with us, and then they can get the symbol. But it's a long drawn process. Currently, it's with the Shiv Sena as registered with the election commission. The members who are part of the rebel Eknath Shinde camp can still continue to be Shiv Sena MLAs in the assembly, because the 2/3 of the legislative party is with with Eknath Shinde. But if they don't get an official Shiv Sena ticket for the next election, they will not be able to use the bow and arrow symbol.
DK sir, Aditya, who is also a member of our YouTube channel, he wants to know, do you think this government can survive the next 2.5 years, considering the fact that Eknath Shinde has a volatile nature?
I would really doubt that, because if you give him chief ministership for 2.5 years, he becomes an entity in his own right. So he may not become another Thakre, but then he will have a following if he governs the state well. 2.5 years as a CM gives you that kind of a space and a stature. Now that will not suit the BJP. You want to finish Thakre, not to prop up powerful. So Shinde will be useful for the next 6 months, 1 year. I don't give him much beyond that. Yes, at some point of time, his entire group decides to join the BJP, and BJP would welcome them with open arms.
Right.
But it's not like Shinde and his group, I mean, that is going to be an independent entity in 2024 elections.
And Ashwin Raghavendra also wants to know, will Fadnavis be moved to Delhi with a cabinet post, and what impact will Shinde CM have on the BMC elections in a couple of months? You have touched upon the BMC election, but if you could go into a bit more detail.
I don't think Fadnavis will be brought to the center, because he is the man who has propped up this government. He will be the one who will be holding this government together. Don't forget, I mean, this government is actually dependent on a big crowd of political machineries, so to say, because BJP has 106 MLAs.
Right.
You have this group, Shinde group, which has 39 right now. Then they claim to have the support of about 22, MLAs from smaller parties, independents. Everybody is unmanageable. So even now in the house that you have 287, the majority figure is 144. You put the Shinde camp together, BJP together, it comes to just 145. And then independents, a smaller party, how they behave. So this government is not that stable. You need somebody like Fadnavis to keep everybody together. So I don't really think Fadnavis should be shifting to Delhi. And then again, as I said, Eknath Shinde, in my view, is a temporary arrangement. 1 year, 1.5 years, that we'll see. You will have Fadnavis as the chief minister candidate for 2024.
Another question from Manasi. Sankalp wants to know, was it so deeply personal for the BJP leadership that they went out of their way to not just topple Uddhav government, but to, in a way, end his political career?
Everything is personal for the BJP. You see them doing this kind of strategizing in almost every state. It's not about ending Uddhav's political career. It's about finishing a regional party that is its main contender in Maharashtra as of today. At least for the near term, at least for the next couple of, immediately the corporation elections, not just BMC, but across the state, major cities are going to elections. And for 2024, their vision is just that. For all you know, after 2024, for the next election, you may even see Shiv Sena and BJP, Uddhav and whoever the leadership of the BJP at that point of time is coming together. I mean, you can never really predict that. But at this point, it's important for them to limit the Shiv Sena's presence as much as possible, especially for Mumbai.
To add to what Mansi was saying, as some BJP leader pointed out to me, after the UP election results, there was a meeting of the party leaders where the Prime Minister was there. And he told them, look, 2024 is going to be our election against family-ruled parties. So it's not just Congress. See, the BJP has already milked that dynastic politics thing about the Congress. Now it's the regional parties they have to go after. Right from south to north, west, everywhere. Maharashtra is part of that strategy again.
Another question for you from Hitesh, DK sir. Don't you think Shinde is the new Nitish Kumar for the BJP? The BJP can now claim the Shiv Sena vote share as well. And do you think what would be the future of Devendra Fadnavis? Will he be the new Amit Shah?
He will look, as we were talking today, the BJP, just to deal with the second question first, the BJP has got a rich pool of talent now. So you have a trinity. You have Devendra Fadnavis now. Devendra Fadnavis was a very good administrator. Everybody acknowledges. He was developing into a mass leader. That's also true. But now he is in a new avatar as a master strategist who can bring down a government with just 160 MLAs, 6 MLAs. Just imagine the MVA stays together, chipping away 39 MLAs from the Shiv Sena out of 55. I mean, it's a big deal. It's not that you cannot buy over 39 people. It's the biggest ever defection, I would say. Although you'd say that, Pema Khandu in Arunachal Pradesh, he had also gone there. But I think he had 36, 37 MLAs. So this engineering, this kind of defection is a big deal. And the way he has done it, look at this. We were all discussing about the options for the Shiv Sena, which party it will merge with. What we did not calculate was that how, while Shinde might have his plan that, I should have 2/3 members to escape, 2/3 of the total legislature party to escape disqualification. But look how Fadnavis was prepared for this. And we have seen with the lawyer, you have seen him with Mahesh Jetmalani, the lawyer. He had vetted every angle, the possible legal thing. So let Shinde gather 2/3. In the meantime, while he has already planned their departure to Surat, on the day MLC elections happened, the counting was on. Right. All hush-hush, he planned that. On the same day, an email is sent to the deputy speaker, questioning, basically saying we have no confidence in you. And that email, that became a matter of debate in the Supreme Court. And that helped them a lot because you question the competence of the deputy speaker to decide on the disqualification. And that happened on the 21st itself when that email had been sent to the deputy speaker. And that was how the deputy speaker's hands were tied. He could not have disqualified the MLAs. So at different levels he was working. So now coming to the main thing, the way he has done this legally, politically, I mean, this is amazing. This is brilliant. Now, you are a mass leader, you are a big political strategist, and you are a good administrator. Again, you have Himanta Biswa Sarma in Assam with the same attributes. Then you have Yogi Adityanath in Uttar Pradesh. Right. Yogi Adityanath may not be a big strategist as such. He has not been an organization man, but he's a big mass leader. So the trinity we are talking about, Fadnavis makes that a trinity. Fadnavis, Yogi, Himanta Biswa Sarma. So right now, the entire BJP was Modi, Amit Shah centric. Now you have this future generation ready and the future leadership absolutely ready. That any time you want, you can move on to the next generation. You have a trinity ready now. So sorry, so that's my answer to the second part of the question. What was the first part? Sorry, I just
whether Shinde is the new Nitish Kumar for the BJP.
See, with Nitish Kumar, the BJP has worked for long. I mean, from 2005 onwards. So to chip away those votes from Nitish Kumar, it has taken them a long time, and it took Modi impact on Bihar elections to chip those votes away. In Maharashtra, see, Nitish Kumar is a big popular leader. I mean, he was the big brother. Shinde is not there, so let's not compare their status now, because Shinde is not a mass leader. Nitish Kumar was a mass leader. Nitish Kumar has his own vote bank. We don't know how much vote bank Shinde has beyond Thane. But yeah, BJP would expect to use Shinde to wean away, original Sainiks. I mean, traditional Sainiks who have been there with Thakre for all these years. So it's not about the BJP is trying to build Shinde's mass base. It's about using him as a symbol to offer something to Shiv Sainiks to switch their side.
Right. Mansi, the next question is for you from Sankalp, who's also one of our members. He wants to know what will happen to Sanjay Raut. Do you expect him to switch sides?
Sanjay Raut switching sides to the Shinde camp, that's very, very unlikely. I mean, that's almost impossible because if you see the kind of statements that are coming from the Shinde camp, many MLAs have spoken about how Uddhav had the wrong confidants. Some of them have named Sanjay Raut, saying that he was the one who vitiated the whole atmosphere by going on making statements against the BJP, against the center, spoiling center state ties, being responsible for a horde of central agency inquiries against Shiv Sena leaders. So they are, they are very, very upset with Sanjay Raut. Now it's up to, I don't know how Uddhav Thackeray will, if at all there's likely to be reconciliation, Uddhav Thackeray will have to deal with Sanjay Raut at some point, considering such a large number of MLAs are upset with him. So no, but long answer short, Sanjay Raut will not shift sides. Yes.
And the next question, DK sir, there are a number of similar questions, so I'm just clubbing them all together. NPD and Proni Datta, they both want to know, is Fadnavis being geared for a bigger organizational role in the BJP? And they're also asking, do you think Devendra Fadnavis is trying to be the new Sharad Pawar in Maharashtra politics?
Second question, first, yes. Coming to the first part, but of course, Sharad Pawar has been in politics for 50 years. So to say that he has already become, he's going to be, but he has a lot of potential, that is for sure. And if you remember, even Sharad Pawar, if you remember, first time when he became the chief minister, how he had to split the party, and how he became the CM. That part. Coming to the first question about his organizational role. So as I said, he's going to be in Maharashtra. So it's not that he's going to be shifted out of Maharashtra to Delhi. But what is the big organizational role he can play? He was given charge of Bihar election earlier, but that was not such a big assignment. Thing is to be in the high table. So that is the BJP parliamentary board, where all important decisions are taken. Who will be the CM? Who has to be given the ticket? All important decisions are taken in the parliamentary board. Now there are 5 vacancies in that parliamentary board. And we have been expecting that, people like, as I said, Himanta Biswa Sharma, Yogi Adityanath, now Fadnavis, they should be sitting at the high table now with Amit Shah, with the Prime Minister, and with the BJP president, and take a collective call on all important issues, which doesn't happen nowadays. Right now, it's all about, the Prime Minister, basically, or Amit Shah taking a decision, taking the consent of the Prime Minister, and then Nadda is informed, that's all. Parliamentary board doesn't even figure anywhere. Many chief ministers have been changed, parliamentary board never met. It met actually after a long time recently. So here you have these leaders, when these leaders have come up this big way, Fadnavis, Yogi, and Himanta, they will have to be accommodated there. So within the BJP also, I expect some change in the decision-making process sooner than later.
Well, thank you so much for this detailed analysis. At the same time, I will tell my viewers, please continue to watch our YouTube channel as well as our website. Our Mumbai correspondents, our Maharashtra correspondent, Manasi, Phadke and Purva Chitnis, they've been keeping a close watch on the latest developments. So do read their news reports, which is available on the Print's website. Thank you so much for your time, DK sir and